Eric Deters, the Bulldog on Class X Radio, ready to deliver radio superbity, despite having screwed up earphones. Is there any other earphones? What about those earphones right there? I would love to have a different set of earphones. Whose earphones are those?
Those are the ones you've been using, haven't they?
I don't like the ones I've been using. The ones I've been using suck. And
They're gone.
You can just see me on the live simulcast throw the goddamn things away. I'm done with them. Oh, and then you got these little, like the mail-in, the extra big thing is now stuck. I can't get that out. Well, did y'all survive without me?
We did. But not, I mean, better. We
it wasn't the same.
We wanted you here.
And you know what? Denise Johnson is not here this morning because she's watching her sister's kids. I say that is a lousy excuse. That is dereliction of duty. That is insubordination. That is a lousy reason not to be here. Do you not agree?
I agree. I'm not watching my sister's kids.
I mean, well, you can watch your sister's kids, but get here. These earphones suck too.
I'd bring my sister's kids here.
And by the way, did Jake not have to go? Jake was going to get televisions and supposed to get me a set of new earphones. Well, where's my earphones? This is the way I got to start out my week. No earphones, no traffic report.
I'll give you a traffic report because now we got our helicopters out of the shop.
Well, it's slippery when wet, and it's slick out there on the roads. By the way, I brought you guys back a gift from Hocking Hills. This is that famous – we went to Athens, Party Town University.
Yeah.
We drove up to Athens. This is the Johnny Cash FU poster right here.
It's a great poster.
The Johnny Cash FU poster. And you know what? I thought you all would have a gift for me. I'd come back, there'd be posters hung up, not a single posters. I thought my 4 televisions would be up, no televisions. Really disappointing start of the day. I do have some big news. I actually told my wife at the drive-thru McDonald's coming back that we had a female traffic reporter, and she seemed totally indifferent to it. So I'm out of the woods. How do you like that?
That's big.
I'm out of the woods.
Isn't that nice to get that off your chest?
Yeah, she can't say I never told her.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen of the American jury, you'd have to be living under a rock this weekend to not know that I was very busy. I received a call late Saturday night about 8. Not about 8. It was about 9 o'clock. And when I had the phone call, I didn't answer because I don't answer phone calls when I don't know who it is. But then they immediately sent me a text. And it was somebody connected to the Erica Collins family. She was the young woman, 26 years old, that was shot and killed by a Cincinnati police officer. And I was very happy to say, hey, you need me? Do you want me to come tomorrow? Do you want me to come tonight? They said they wanted me to come tonight. So I drove up there with a member of my team, met with them, went to the scene. And then yesterday, I met early morning with the wife of David Dooley, who is sitting in the Boone County Jail accused of murder of Michelle Mockbee. And I went out and saw him, and I've now taken over that representation. Today at 9:30, I meet with another very newsworthy client, which I'll report on tomorrow. But we're going to cover all this later in the show. We're going to cover it all around the 7:30, 8 o'clock hour. You're not going to miss the 8 to 8:15 hour. Also, I brought in a gun, a 9mm, and a knife, sort of like a butcher knife. And I'm going to give you all a demonstration on our live simulcast just for kicks and grins. And I think you're going to enjoy it. Today in history, Ernest Hemingway published a novel, To Have and Have Not. Oh, well. It was the debut in 1951 on CBS of I Love Lucy. Love Lucy.
This will put you to sleep.
With Desi Arnaz. That's not the theme music of I Love Lucy.
It's what it said on the thing on YouTube. According to you, are you saying YouTube's wrong?
Yes. I Love Lucy was upbeat. This isn't I Love Lucy.
Hold on.
Also in 1959, we had the debut, not the Kevin Costner version, of the movie The Untouchables.
The movie or the TV show?
It was a television show.
I think that was the TV show, wasn't it?
Yeah, this was the television show. The Untouchables. By the way, this is great. The ear that what they call earphones or whatever
Headphones.
that Jake got me now are so heavy they must weigh like 10 pounds, which is probably reflected on the simulcast.
I think they
So
came
as soon
out-
as this segment is over, I'm going to throw them up against the wall. 1966, the Black Panther Party was created by Huey Newton and Bobby Seale. 1976, the first debate of the major ticket VP nominees, Mondale and Dole. Isn't that something? Before 1976, they didn't waste time with the vice presidential nominees. Why the hell do we waste time now? I mean, do you see any reason why we should be wasting time with a vice presidential nominee? I say hell no. Today in history, in 1976, Ringo released A Dose of Rock and Roll. Of course, Ringo Starr is the second greatest Beatle. Did you know that? Did you know that? Yeah. How about this? 1977, Debbie Boone's You Light Up My Life goes number one. You Light Up My Life. 1989, Wayne Gretzky passed the Gordie Howes all-time scoring record. Today's famous birthday, Sarah Ferguson's 53. Penny Marshall was 70. Mario Puzo. Do you know who Mario Puzo is, Garrett?
I looked him up last night, too, but
He's
I
the
forget.
guy that wrote The Godfather.
Oh, that's, yeah.
And Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher who famously said, God is dead. Well, guess what, Nietzsche? You're dead now.
Yeah.
No real birthday for him.
You jackwagon?
Today's also known as Bearded President's Day. I just say this, why? Grouch Day. Bingo. Perfect for me.
Yeah.
See, I'm honoring Grouch Day by being a grouch in the first segment. National Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day. That's sad. White Cane Safety Day. I have no clue. Sad to report, Army Sergeant Thomas R. McPherson, 26, of Long Beach, California. Navy Commander Joel Del Mundo, 249 of Manila, Philippines. And Army Sergeant First Class Ryan J. Savard, 29 of Sierra Vista, of Arizona. All, unfortunately, lost their lives. Forecast today, mostly sunny, high of 58. Tuesday, sunny, high of 67. Wednesday, partly cloudy. And all we got to tell you about the traffic is it's wet, so be careful. Drive a little slower.
There is a crash. There's a story, northbound I-75 in northern Kentucky. 2 tractor trailers have collided in Walton.
That's not good.
No one's seriously injured, but...
Let's do some jack wagons. Francisco Schettino. He's that captain responsible for that Costa Concordia cruise ship that he grounded that killed 32 people. He's suing the company for wrongful termination. He's a jackwagon.
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi claims she read the entire Obamacare bill. She's the one who already said that we have to pass it before we know what's in it. Incredible. Well, I've given the good old boy Garrett a great song list, and I'm no longer going to – I've picked the music, but I'm just giving him a very long list, and he's going to play these songs in order however he wants to do it. And we're just going to, bottom line, give you radio superbity, except for the song between the 8 o'clock and 8:15 hour. I got a special dedication that I want to play. So with that, here's some music for you. When we come back, I hope the next 15 minutes I'm not a grouch. Maybe I'll have some earphones that'll work. Jake, this is the Bulldog on Class X Radio. This is the Bulldog on Class X Radio. Guess what? My little iPhone earphones work great. Did you go see a movie, Garrett?
Did not.
I saw the movie Seven Psychopaths Friday night with the wife. You got to go see it. It is hilarious.
Oh, I wouldn't have guessed it's a comedy.
Seven Psychopaths is off the charts funny. It is a guy movie. However, my wife laughed throughout it all, too. Now, there's some blood, but it is funny. Christopher Walken is incredible.
He's good.
And the funniest guy in it, I don't know his name, but he's hilarious. And it's about 7 psychopaths. Taken was the box office winner at $22.5 million. Argo, $20.1 million. Sinister, $18.2 million. Hotel Transylvania, $17.3 million. And here comes the boom at $12 million. Jason Sudeikis portrayed Biden on Saturday Night Live. Old school strong. He said, when the Amtrak breaks down on my morning commute, I strip down to my tighty whities. I push all the way to Washington. That's funny. I think it's funny. Russell Crowe is into pop culture news. He is reportedly separated from his wife of 9 years. You seen her, Garrett?
Mm-mm.
Smoking.
Really?
Australian singer Danielle Spencer You know what? Have you ever known an ugly Danielle? I've never known of an ugly Danielle.
Brother dated a Danielle. Pretty hot.
Crow has 6 movies scheduled for release within the next 12 months alone. That explains it. Susan Sarandon is opening up about an incident early in her career. She said she was a young actress in New York. She went to an audition, and she went into the guy's office. He sexually assaulted her. Thank you for sharing that, Susan. Miley Cyrus appeared on Jay Leno's Tonight Show. She wore a bra as a top during the interview. Thank you, Miley Cyrus. When we come back, we will have more of this fun stuff as we ease you into some serious stuff right here on Class X Radio. Hey, Bulldog. Hey, Bulldog. That's who I am, Eric Deters on Class X Radio. Garrett, do you ever subscribe to Maxim Magazine?
I wish I did.
Well, I'll just share mine with you every month when I get it. Stoner in Chief. According to Maxim Magazine, Clinton wasn't the only president to try weed, and these guys actually inhaled. Barack Obama. As a teenager, a red-eyed Barack Obama and his so-called Choom Gang spent hours in a Volkswagen van practicing roof hits. According to a recent bio, this required that all the windows be rolled up. Then Obama and the boys all tilted their heads back and sucked in the last bit of smoke from the ceiling. Way to go, Barry. John F. Kennedy. Thanks to a bad back, JFK scored prescription party favors and dabbled in the dank. One night during the Cold War, Jack smoked 3 joints with his rumored mistress, Mary Meyer. When offered a fourth, he declined, saying, "Suppose the Russians did something now." And George Washington, the father of our country, cultivated his own strain of stank in the fields of Mount Vernon. In 1765, the general wrote in his diary how he would separate the male from the female hemp because any decent grower knows which trees are for producing rope and which are for producing dope. They have a picture, and I just want to say this, that I kind of bought into, what was her name? She's a Victoria's Secrets model that I kind of said, I think she's probably the most beautiful woman other than my wife in the world. But I think I'm going to replace her with Maria Menounos. Is she not awesome?
Let's see.
She was on Dancing with the Stars. She does Entertainment Tonight or whatever the heck that show is. Not Entertainment Tonight. I forget. It's one of those entertainment shows.
All right,
is she not beautiful?
Oh, she's hot. The hottie.
Yeah, you can take that home with you.
Okay, great.
Thanksgiving versus Twilight. They compared them. As far as sustenance go, Pilgrims, an appetizing platter of turkey, pumpkin, maize, and smallpox. If you were a Twilight person, stale multiple popcorn and the world's most expensive box of Raisinets. Companions, people wearing hats with belts on them. Twilight crowd, pale girls in size XXL Team Edward T-shirts. Perils, malnutrition, this is for the Pilgrims. Disease, wild animals, scalping, and square-toed shoes. You have to admit, the Pilgrims didn't dress very well, did they? They actually dressed pretty bad. And you know what? We got to honor this on Class X Radio this morning. Bill Spry is going to be very, very proud of us. Thank you, Chuck, for that submission, Heidi Klum. But no, it's not Heidi Klum. And I will never look at her the same. Roy Bates, 91. You know who he was? He was the guy that turned in a one-time artillery platform out in the ocean off the coast of England into Sealand, and it was Pirate Radio Station that was featured in that movie, which was a great movie. But how do you like that? Pirate Radio was the name of the movie. But he's 91 and he died. He was a rebel. By the way, there's a picture in the New York Times of his wife, Joan, in 1966. She's gorgeous. So, in honor of Bill Spry, we honor Roy Bates. Why? Because Bill Spry, the owner of this radio station, at one time, was a pirate radio. He basically said, I'm going to do radio, and told the FCC to kiss his fanny. There you have it. Some things we got to get to on the weekend, pop culture. Bruce Springsteen's going to campaign with Bill Clinton Thursday for Obama. Hey, Bruce, can I play the sax with, I know Clarence died. Can I play the sax for you? He will also attend an Obama campaign rally in Orange, Iowa the same day. Bruce, I love you, but you're messed up. Because what are you if you vote for Obama? You're stupid. Sorry, Bruce. Hulk Hogan. He's contacted the FBI in hopes that they will find the person who leaked an explicit tape of him. You know what, Hulk? You make an explicit tape, you lose control of it. Sorry about your luck. By the way, Morgan Freeman is also doing a commercial for the president. I used to like Morgan Freeman, too. But I don't like him anymore. I'm not kidding. I used to like him. I don't like him anymore. How about the sports, man? And I was gone when the Reds blew it, but I'm going to comment on that before the show's over. Let's see now. Also in Maxim Magazine, they got a special about the NBA, which is funny stuff. I mean, it's good stuff. And did you hear about UK? Speaking of NBA, UK signed this cat named Young, a 6'6" swingman. Those two Harrison twins from Texas that they signed are considered the number 1 and number 2 guards, the top 5 players, and they got the best backcourt. This guy's a top 5 too. So UK, the UK Wildcats, Calipari has signed for 2013, next year, 3 of the top 5 recruits in college basketball. How do you do that? It's amazing. Wendy's, according to the Associated Press, are changing their logo. This is a huge deal. Why? Because I am a Wendy's franchisee along with my dad. We own 5 Wendy's. Or is it 6? I forget. But they're changing their logo. I think their new logo sucks. And they talk about they spent a lot of money and they did some tests on this. You know what's so amazing about that? I will bet you Wendy's spent $1 million on that logo. Hell, they should have contacted the Bulldog. I could have got my Crayola set and done a logo like that. Jake, why don't you pull a microphone up there since you're not doing anything anyway and I'm paying you. Jake,
I don't like the logo either.
Jake, how was the hockey game that you went to on Saturday night on me? You know, I know my wife bought the tickets, but it was my money. Just want you to know.
It was good. Thank you.
You went with her, and you had a girlfriend.
My girlfriend.
And Cameron. Did Cameron have a date?
Cameron did not have a date.
By the way, I was told not to talk about you-know-who or anybody else anymore on the radio. You got to have my back because it's my understanding we were always vague.
We were.
Weren't we always vague?
Always vague.
By the way, this may not be – well, I'm going to announce this, okay? I'm announcing this in my newsletter. I am the official sponsor now of the Northern Kentucky NCAAP, the NAACP, annual dinner on Saturday, November 3rd. I am the main sponsor. Had breakfast with Jeremy Bowles. He asked me to do it. I said, sure. So having said that, okay, I'm going to be allowed to say the next thing because I don't think it's prejudice at all. I don't think it's racist at all. Just remember, I represent a lot of blacks. Got a lot of black friends. We're too white, guys. I've called Sensible Don. I've texted Sensible Don. I can't get him to call me back. I'm going to bring him out of retirement. We got to get a black guy in here. You know what I mean? As part of our cast of characters, don't you agree?
I think so.
Be good to have a token black guy. We got everything else covered.
Yeah, just like in South Park. Token, we need a token. Now, I just want you to know, if you're listening and you're a black guy, by the way, one woman's enough. Nah, we got Denise. We don't want a black woman. Sorry, folks. But if you're a black guy that thinks you could be like in here on the radio and say something witty and wise every once in a while, we'd love to have you. If not, don't email me. But we're taking auditions. If you are a black man and wants to be part of the Bulldog Nation radio show, email me at eric@ericdeters.com. Now, Sensible Don has dibs. I told him I'm going to harass him until he responds to my call. Do we have a musical selection?
Absolutely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, American jury, we're going to come back and we're going to have some fun. Chuck Holbrook says stop that. I'm making nervous. It's all right, Chuck.
Hey, Bulldog.
This is the Bulldog, Eric Deters on Class X Radio, delivered radio superbity to you. That's some major news here to announce. On Thursday, October 24th, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., I'm doing a 12-hour radio show. Now, Garrett, all you got to do is produce that first 3 hours. Jake, you might have to produce 6 hours, make some extra money. And I figure we'll get Alex to come in, maybe do 3 hours too. But this is for sponsorships for the radio station. Kind of like a Jerry Lewis. But you know what, folks? We're going to have 12 hours of radio superbity. I promise you there will not be a minute of bad radio. And I am pumped up about it. I'm going to show you what I can do in 12 hours of radio. William, and we're going to get to sports here in a minute. Notre Dame, right? Notre Dame has not allowed a touchdown since September the 8th. They've only allowed 3 touchdowns this year. They're 6-0. They held the team that they played, Stanford, a good team, top 20 team, twice inside the 1-yard line in overtime to win the game. William doesn't even put the score in the newsletter the next day. Good job, William. Now, my daughter, who was studying in the library at Chase Law School at the time, Erica, and she went to St. Mary's up there by Notre Dame, said that she blurted out watching the game on the computer, the F-bomb, during the game. I said, you're my daughter. By the way, this is interesting, Garrett. I don't know if you ever had this conversation with your dad, but Erica was telling me something that how she did a midterm and she did pretty good on constitutional law. And I said, well, I'm really proud of you. She says, Dad, it's not that big the deal. You know, you don't have to be proud of me about that. So I text her back and I said, okay, I'm 25% proud of you. I'm not proud of you. Have you ever been told that somebody was like a percentage proud of you?
No. I take pride, whenever I can get it.
We're going to have an update later in the show about Sarah Jones. Pretty significant stuff there, too. Get this. She got a letter in the mail. The reason why I know this, it was sent to me to give to Sarah, from somebody in Pennsylvania with index cards inside, asking her to sign them, autograph, and mail them back to the dude. That is one scary stalker guy. I think we can all agree. I got to tell you about my trip, folks. I went up to Hocking Hills in Ohio and stayed at a place called the Glenberry, which was little Scottish cottages in the woods. And they had like a manor house where they had a dining area and a meeting area and a little pub and everything else. And my wife and I we were up there for 3 nights, 2 days. Went up Tuesday night, came back Friday morning. And I'm telling you right now, just 2 days rejuvenated me. Did some hiking. But I got to share some funny stuff, and I'm going to post these pictures. We had dinner there on Wednesday night, and we didn't go Thursday. It took them 2 hours to deliver us this 6-course meal. First, they brought us some pork tenderloin and stirred vegetables. Then they brought us wine cheese soup with something reduction. I didn't like that. Then they brought us a salad. Then they brought us the sorbet. Then they brought us the filet mignon. Then they brought us a chocolate tart, whatever. I was like, my God, just bring us our food. We're not hoity-toity enough for that. But I got to share some funny stories. We watched some videos in the room. They had these videos, and I watched some oldies but goodies. My cousin Vinny, classic, when he says, everything he said's BS and sits down. And thanks. And the judge strikes the entire opening statement except the place where he said thanks. Watch Love Actually, great Christmas comedy, Steel Magnolias, and Something About Mary, which is a top 10 all-time comedy. You've seen Something About Mary, Garrett?
No.
Oh, my God.
I'm not a movie guy.
Jake, is Something About Mary a classic?
You guys have it?
Ben Stiller, I own it.
I'm going to end up
But, by the way, have you watched the baseball videos yet?
Yeah.
I want those
I'm
back.
About 2 into them.
I want those back, man.
I'll get them to you.
And there was a woman that was up there eating by herself, and everybody was couples. There was like 10 couples and this woman in the middle. I felt bad for her. I wanted to ask her to join us, but I didn't want to make my wife mad, so I said, should we ask? I said, I feel bad about her sitting by herself.
Nice.
We probably should ask her to join us. My wife didn't say yes, basically saying she didn't want me to. So it's all her fault that I wasn't polite. Now, wasn't that nice? All these couples there, I wanted to ask this very chubby, but I'm sure she was very sweet, lonely woman eating candlelight dinner by herself in the middle of this room.
Nice suggestion.
I wanted to do it, and the wife did. So I said, I'm sorry, but she wins. Now, here's another thing. Hot tubs. You're going to like this, Jake, because you come over the house all the time.
Was it a heart shape?
No, it was just a regular hot tub. I always wanted to get a hot tub because it's relaxing. Be a little hot tub. And
you don't have one at your house?
No. And we're 49, so come on. Now, my wife never did want to get the hot tub because she thinks shenanigans, hot tubs. Well, I said, we're not in our 20s anymore, okay? I'm not interested in getting in a hot tub with some couple or something. By the way, one time, I got in a hot tub once, and there was a couple that had something else in mind. I'm like, sorry, I'm not into that. But anyway, guess what? after sitting in that hot tub 2 nights in a row, Jake, she's authorized the purchase of a hot tub.
That's big news.
To be back by, boy, we have a setup. We got the outdoor television now, the heated pool. You'll be able to sit in the hot tub in December and watch football on the outdoor television.
That's awesome.
Is that not going to be great?
That's good.
I'll be spending my Sundays at the Deters household.
Now, Jake, you and Cole and Cameron and Parker, you guys are allowed to have girls in there and all that, but
Okay.
we don't want to be there
Got it.
when all that happens, all right?
I'll write that down.
But a hot tub's going to be purchased. I'm excited about that. By the way, I think I'm going to file a class action lawsuit against the Reds for
losing?
Dusty Baker. And I'm going to cover that later when we get to sports. How about this? What your breath reveals. I'm not kidding you, man. Wall Street Journal reports that. It's very important. And then finally, we're going to move into local news and sports. New York Times has a story about Strauss-Kahn. This was the former International Monetary Fund guy. He has admitted to these sex clubs, these parties where you have a fancy dinner, then everybody gets naked and swap partners and sex with prostitutes, and it's judges, police, journal, musicians, all the. It's libertinage is what it's called in France. And this is kind of part of the culture. And he's defending himself by saying, lust is not a crime. Can you imagine if this was common in the United States and Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan and Barack Obama and Joe Biden participated in this kind of stuff? Decadence. The French are decadent. That's why Jefferson and Franklin loved them. You ever been to France, Garrett? Hell no, you ain't been anywhere.
No, I haven't been overseas yet.
By the way, we decided we're going to take
Italy, right?
a snow vacation over the Christmas holidays in West Virginia and 2 weeks in Italy in June. It's being planned. I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks. Do you think I can handle it?
No, I don't think I can.
All right, we come back, more Radio Superbity as we dive into some local news, and we're also going to cover sports. This is the Bulldog on Class X Radio. Enjoy this classic. This is the Bulldog on Class X Radio. Yesterday I picked up lunch from the Olive Garden. The manager there named Jeffrey recognized me and said he's a big fan. His dad's a big fan. So I'm giving Jeffrey at the Olive Garden Oracle status because he's a big fan. Hey, did you all know?
You've been awarded Oracle status.
I think this is pretty interesting stuff here. The Georgetown University basketball team is known as the Hoyas. You know what a Hoya is?
Like a wolf or a husky?
It derives from Greek and Latin words that mean what rocks. What rocks. How do you like that?
I was way off.
But listen to this. What kind of mascot would the Whats have? Guess what? A bulldog. According to legend Father Vincent S. McDonough, prefect of discipline at the school in the early 1920s, had a scrappy Boston bulldog who went with him to football games. A newspaper man who covered the team's games began to associate the dog with the teams from Georgetown. Jack has been the mascot in spirit, at least, ever since. Dun, 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 dun. How do you like that? Barack Obama Thursday is going to go on the Jon Stewart Show. Good for you. All right, in local news, Romney went to the Golden Lamb in Lebanon, which is the Portman restaurant. He said, number one is energy. Number two is trade. Number three, I want to make sure that people have the skills they need to be able to work in the jobs of today. Number four, cut federal spending. We're going to cap federal spending and get us on track. I understand about 10,000 people showed up. Good for you, Mitt. Ryan today is going to host a victory rally at Landmark Aviation and Lunken Airport at noon. The rally is free and open to the public, but attendees have to RSVP and present a ticket. Doors to the event will open at 10 a.m. For information, contact 614-547-2290 or look at the Enquirer. There's an article in there. I'm going to cover the shooting of Erica Collins coming up in the 7:45 and 8 o'clock hour. How about this? Police say Shayna Huber shot 29-year-old Robert Poston multiple times. No reason yet why. There are a lot of Postons in Campbell County. I have to assume that's a Poston from the famous Poston family that I know. And I'm sorry to hear that. Clarksville resident Stephen Cullen, according to WCPO 30, is dead after his ATV overturned while making a left turn and eventually land on top of him early Sunday morning. State police say Cullen was strewn from the ATV before it landed on them, and he was not wearing protective headgear. Republican Kentucky U.S. Senator Rand Paul says it's too soon whether he'll run in 2016. Well, if Romney doesn't win, Paul, you got me to contend with. Going into the general election, Chandler has $830,000 cash on hand for his reelection. You know, Barr almost beat him in 2010, but I think Chandler's ahead of him this time. Harlan County, Kentucky is hurting for volunteer firefighters. If you did not know, this is where my dear old mama's from. Harlan County, Kentucky. Loyal Fire Chief Vern Guffey says volunteers are needed at fire departments. By the way, that's a problem for volunteer firefighters all across the country because people are too busy doing other things. They don't have the same sense of community. You can't find volunteers anymore. All right, let's get to sports, Garrett. Do you know anything about sports?
A little bit.
How about the New York Yankees manager benching Rodriguez?
And now they're in a world of hurt. And not for that decision. You had to. The guy sucks.
And then Derek Jeter goes down with a broken ankle.
How about that? They're down 4-0 in the first game. Tie it in the bottom of the ninth inning, so it's all happy. Then breaks his ankle in the 12th inning, and then they lose in like the bottom of the 12th inning. Just like, I mean,
it's not
low
good.
To extreme high to just extreme low again.
They got to go.
Sports.
They got to go win 2 or 3 in Baltimore now. Of course, we know that
Boston or in Detroit.
Detroit. Detroit. And of course, we know that can be done here in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Reds' collapse?
Awful. A failed season. How can you not call it anything else?
You know what's sad is, and I knew it. I was scared to death about this, and the reason being is everybody acted like it was a foregone conclusion. They'd come back and win Game 3 and da-da. And you know what? It's like this. Every time I watch a football game and my team almost intercepts the ball and doesn't, I guarantee the next play is going to be good for the other team.
Yeah.
Happened yesterday watching the Cowboys. It always happens. Brandon Phillips, who was the best player in the playoffs, but he still tried to take that third base, and as a result of that and Scott Rowland's error, you blow Homer Bailey's pitching gem.
You know, that you can blame a play here and a play there. The hit and run that Dusty put on.
Oh, stupid. They shouldn't have put Leak out there. You got your whole bullpen in Game 5. He shouldn't have let Matt Latos go out there. You know, Sparky won a couple World Series, and what was his nickname? Captain Hook.
See, bottom line is
Dusty Baker sucks, and Walt Jocketty's going to sign him again.
See, I don't believe that. I think he will get signed, and I think it's the right move because those players like him. You don't win 97 games by mistake. Sparky,
they could have won 103 if they had a different manager.
Sparky Anderson had some bad years. Did they pull him? Did they fire him?
He didn't have bad years because of his manager.
Exactly.
Well, Dusty Baker's a bad manager.
But he won 97 games, 99 if you.
They would have won more without him, and they would have the number 1 seed, and they'd been playing the Cardinals instead of the Giants.
See, I don't think the manager matters as much. And
yes, it does.
And Cueto goes down in Game 1, deck stacked against them there, and they don't hit in runners in scoring position. That's on the players.
Man, oh man, I don't believe it. I got to ask you this. The Bengals fall to the Browns 34-24, and we've got a problem. A.J. Dalton's got Romo disease. Interceptions. Not good. How about A.J. Green? 7 catches for 135 yards. And we lose to the Browns. The mistake in the lake.
He's one of the best receivers in the league.
And, of course, my Ravens beat the Cowboys. Why? Because Des Bryant can't catch a ball, and then we miss a field goal after getting an onside kick. Yeah, the Cardinals are up on the Giants 1-0. Isn't the Cardinals amazing? I'm sick.
They'll go to this.
I'm going to be rooting for the Yankees or Detroit because I can't stand the Cardinals. You think they're going to win?
Probably. It would just be the Reds, another slap in the face to the Reds.
Yeah.
So.
I mentioned that Michigan star player, prep standout, James Young, UK guy. He's number 5 in the recruits. High school football Friday night. Of course, this is Monday, so we didn't get covered. Did Anderson win? No, you lost to Glen Estee.
Oh, it was terrible.
How did that happen?
Horrible team. Anderson's horrible this year.
My Pioneers on Thursday night lost to Dixie.
There we go, Dixie.
Yeah, but my God. Highlands beat my home's Bulldogs 57-28. I want a coaching position there. And how about Notre Dame winning? Whoa, baby.
That was big.
And the BCS is out. If you did not know, Alabama's 1, Florida is 2, Oregon is 3, Notre Dame's 5, baby. Mm-hmm. How about Oklahoma spanking Texas?
And Notre Dame, I think, plays Oklahoma, not this week, maybe the next.
Yeah. Bud Selig says fair and foul balls and trap balls will be included in instant replay. Good. Joe Torre says no in the Red Sox job. Can you imagine him going to Red Sox? NHL talks 4 days without negotiations. Nothing firm. Sorry, Jake. What are you surviving without that?
We got Cyclones.
There you go, the Cyclones.
Yeah.
Go Clones.
You know, it's not as good, but it's always fun going to those games.
It is.
Good time.
Good time.
Very good. How about this meningitis update? Spread to 13 states. 197 cases have been reported. The 15th person has died from fungal meningitis. Man, you can't mess around with meningitis. Can't mess around with
that. I know it's some sort of disease, but, I mean, what is it attacking?
Did you hear about this story? Eric Clapton, his Gerhard Richter painting, Abstracts Built, has sold for $34 million. A freaking painting, man. $34 million. Garrett, let's start painting.
I'm going to start because most of it's crap.
You said it was abstract?
And when I die, my heirs can sell it for money.
Are you a fan of painting?
Hell no.
I think it's more, I mean, the word now is in the name.
I'm not into contemporary stuff. Give me a portrait or something that is what it is. Like Picasso, what? Yeah, look at the cubism here.
Oh, God.
I can handle impressionism. See, I know this stuff because I went to Latin school.
I was in college, had to take an arts writing class because I was in journalism school. And we had to go to the art museum one day and check out this gallery of paintings of women. And from, older than dirt. And then write about it and how it made us feel. It was horrible. It's a horrible experience.
My wife and I are going to take an art history class. She likes art. I like history.
Oh, that sounds like a terrible idea.
We're going to do it.
Ugh, feel bad for you.
All right, when we come back after this, we're rocking now in gear. We're going to cover politics. And coming up in the last hour and a half of our show, we're going to cover some big local news story, which I am in the center of. Sarah Jones, Erica Collins, and the Dooley Mockbee murder case out in Boone County. This is the Bulldog. Inside information in Radio Suburbia. What the heck are you doing, Garrett? Jeez, yes it did. It was time to come back.
I heard sports.
What'd you do, go do a number 2 instead of a number 1?
One only.
Jeez, oh, Pete. All right, Abraham Lincoln, there's a movie coming out directed by Steven Spielberg. I think they're trying to beat the good old Bill O'Reilly to the punch. Do you know there's 16,000 books on Lincoln? There's 20 new books coming out on him now. Everybody loves Abe. In Salt Lake City, a 21-year-old Utah resident, Zachary Weston, has been charged with aggravated murder. Get this. He stabbed his 84-year-old grandmother 111 times with a knife. Now, those of you that think I'm soft on crime, that guy needs a roast. See, maybe he's mentally ill. 121 times? Get out of here. Here's a sad story, but I have to admit it's kind of, I don't know. 62-year-old Jose Molina was found inside a steamer machine at a plant that he worked at that supplies tuna maker Bumblebee Foods. He freaking fell in the steamer machine. People are going to be eating Jose instead of tuna. Special cans, tuna Jose. I shouldn't be making fun of something like that, but come on, man. How do you get in a steamer? And Representative Jesse Jackson, according to Chicago Sun-Times Jr., says federal authorities are investigating irregularities and suspicious activity involving inappropriate spending. Folks, that's why he's acting like he's crazy for the past year in a mental hospital and all that stuff. He's doing that to set up a defense to this. You can see it a mile away, and I've been talking about that for a year. Sorry, Junior. In a town, this is funny. A town in Africa has been forced a business owner to take down a sign that read, somewhere in Kenya, this was in America, my bad. A town has forced a business owner to take down a sign that read, somewhere in Kenya, a village is missing its idiot, Obama. The old village idiot comment. There you go. What do we got here if there's anything interesting? Military bases in New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and Maryland will host families of the 9/11 attack victims today so they can watch the trials of the 5 men accused of planning and assisting the attack, including Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Ladies and gentlemen of the American jury, it is impossible to justify and explain that these people are going to trial in 2012 for a heinous crime committed in 2001. And they've had them for a long, long time. It's incredible. Don't you think that's incredible?
I don't know why it takes so damn long.
In Chicago, 2 teens, 17 and 18, were killed Saturday night as 24 people were shot in the Chicago during the overnight hours. 17 have been deemed gang-related, 5 people killed since Friday. I got to ask you this question. Why in the hell would you be outside in Chicago after 3 p.m.?
After dark.
Scary.
It's a war zone.
It's a war zone. It's kind of a scary war zone, isn't it?
I would think any war zone is scary, yes.
All right, let's dive into politics. Arlen Specter, rest in peace. Do you know he was the longest-serving senator from Pennsylvania? Pretty incredible. 30 years. He died of non-Hodgkin lymphoma at age of 82. Highlights of his career. He was on the Warren Commission. BS. What else did he do? He was a prosecutor in Philadelphia. He became a senator. He was a big defender of Clarence Thomas during those judicial hearings. And, of course, he famously switched parties when he lost the Republican primary in order to try to be elected, or he knew he was going to lose the primary, and, of course, he switched and he lost. Jason Thompson, Wisconsin GOP Senator candidate Tommy Thompson, speaking at the Republican Party of Kenosha County brunch event, commented that we have the opportunity to send Barack Obama back to Chicago or Kenya. Applause. By the way, Tommy Thompson's expected to win. Jan Stevens, the ambassador's father of his son Christopher Stevens in Libya. The security matters are being adequately investigated. We don't pretend to be experts in security. It has to be objectively examined. That's where it belongs. It does not belong in the campaign arena. Really? Well, ladies and gentlemen of the American jury, for the first time this weekend, you had a mom of a SEAL, and you had a wife of a SEAL speaking out, calling the administration liars. Liars. Bad timing for all. And hello, Mr. Stevens, with all due respect to your son, you're darn right it belongs in the political arena. You know, one of my pet peeves, folks, is people say, it's politicizing. Oh, they're politicizing. Oh, they're politicizing. Guess what, folks? Everything is politics. I can't believe they're making this a political issue. Everything in politics is a political issue. It's such bogus BS. I can't believe they're politicizing this. Really? It's all politics. Both campaigns have taken issue with Candy Crowley's CNN statement, the moderator for tomorrow's town hall debate. Once the table was kind of set by the town hall questioner, there is then time for me to say, hey, wait a second, what about XYZ? Campaigns previously agreed that she would have a limited role. Daily presidential tracking poll, Rasmussen, Romney 49, Obama 47%. Hoorah! Likely voters poll, Gallup, Romney 49%, Obama 47%. Hoorah! I'm excited about that. Did you hear this story? Ladies and gentlemen of the American jury, this is why we have a fat, dumb, and stupid and lazy problem in America. Washington State, home of all those delicious apples, has a shortage of people to pick apples. Are you ready for this? They're not going to pick about, they're down 40% on the labor that they need. And it's expected that he's going to leave some apples to rot because he only has 200 pickers and he needs 400 pickers. So if you need a job, get off your butt, go to Washington and pick some apples. I bet you they even let you eat an apple every once in a while on the apple picking tour. You would think. All right, ladies and gentlemen, American Jury, when we come back, more politics, and we are inching ever so closer to I'm going to do live. You got to tell your friends to tune in to 88.9 and 89.1, Class X Radio, TuneIn Radio, ClassXRadio.com, live streaming. I'm going to show live on the radio what the officer could have done in the Erica Collins shooting. Simple as pie. And I'm going to show you, and I'm going to explain to you why the police cannot be trusted in this investigation. On Class X Radio. Rock and roll, baby. Best cruise song of all time, along with Ace Frehley, New York Groove. Add that to that list, too, on Class X Radio. This is the Bulldog on Class X Radio. Rocking and rolling. I found it very encouraging. People don't realize this, but in July and August, and even in September, Barack Obama outspent on television ads Mitt Romney, which I don't get why Mitt Romney let that happen. Now, you guys are going to love this, okay? This is on October 8th through the 14th, when you really want to get rolling, to be honest with you. In a race like this is the time when you get the momentum rolling. Orlando, Florida. Romney, 2,590 ads. Obama, 2,030. Now, they're basically talking about 2,000 to 3,000 ads. Okay? Cleveland, Romney, 800 more ads. Toledo, this is in the week of October 8th, 14th. Toledo, 1,000 more ads. Roanoke, Virginia, 2,000 more ads. He had 3,400 to Obama's only 1,000. Green Bay, Wisconsin, 3,400 ads for Romney, 1,000 Obama. Obama running out of money. And he goes, raise all that money. Guess what? He's got to spend it in other places because the TV time gets bought up and you're shut out. But I'm not kidding you, folks. These Chicago guys, they'll convert that $180 million into cash and go buy some votes. Norfolk, Virginia, 3,000 to 1,650. Denver, 900 more ads. Des Moines, Iowa, 1,200 more ads. Cedar Rapids, Iowa, 900 more ads. Tampa, Florida, 900 more ads. So Mitt Romney has the debate rally, plus he's spending 33% more in TV times in these key battleground states. Hoorah! We like that, don't we? How about this? Obama's prepping for the next debate. He's spending 4 days practicing for Tuesday's debate tomorrow against Romney at a resort in Williamsburg, Virginia. You know what he's trying to do? Williamsburg, of course, is where Virginia, House of Burgess was, the capital of Virginia for the colonial period of time, the home of George Wythe that taught Thomas Jefferson. I think he's hoping that Patrick Henry rubs off on him or something. Isn't that hilarious? He's going because it's going to be up in Hofstra, but I think it's hilarious that he's going to Williamsburg to get some inspiration as opposed to that Henderson Resort in Vegas. Romney, Huffington Post, said on day one he'll define China as a currency manipulator. You go get him. Paul Ryan says China's stealing American patents. It's called the Bulldog. I'll represent the government. We'll sue their ass. What else do we have? Romney's crowd levels reveal increased level of support. He's receiving larger crowds at rallies. That is another good sign. Obama can't fill up a stadium like he did last time. Did you see this, folks? Representatives Brad Sherman and Howard Berman had to be separated by a deputy sheriff after Sherman put his hand on Berman's shoulder and shouted, "You, according to a poll reporter, blah, 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 blah." How you like that? Two congressmen. See, what they did is they gerrymandered them, and they put them in the same district. So two Democratic congressmen have to go toe-to-toe, one step towards the other one like Al Gore, and the other guy put his arm around him and said, "You want to go at it?" Yeah, get carried away. This New York Times had an analysis of Mitt Romney when he was governor in Massachusetts. For 417 days, of his 4-year term, so that's over a third of the time, or a fourth of the time, he was out of town. And 70% of those trips were political or personal travel, not related to governorship. He's a rich dude, man. Everything's under control. I'm out of here. Heck, it's cell phones and computers now, right? Now, of course, Obama did that. I would trash him. I admit that. Double standards, because I want Romney to win, and I don't care shamelessly. Jake, you went to Walgreens. Why don't you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the American jury what Jake bought at Walgreens? And don't you all love that we don't have to be interrupted by the blonde traffic reporter? By the way, traffic out there, it's wet. Be careful. So, Jake, what did you buy at Walgreens?
Well, I went in. I got what I needed, which were some thumbtacks for posters. Decorate it. It's going to look nice. But as I was walking in, this sign catches my eye. It says special. Tuna Jose. It was buy 4, get 4 free. Tuna Jose.
Thanks for getting me the Cincinnati Enquirer.
What kind of posters we putting up?
I don't know.
Tell the American people.
Jake, what's the Bulldog Nation wants to know? What kind of posters are going up on the walls of this studio?
We got Bruce Springsteen. We got Led Zeppelin. We got some.
I picked these out, folks. Just want you to know. Go ahead, Jake.
Some Clint Eastwood. And that's all we got.
Jake just executed. We also have a Johnny Cash FU poster that I brought back.
We do.
The middle
from
finger
Athens,
Cash.
Ohio. The middle finger Johnny Cash. I'm not going to comment any further on that. I get in trouble. I actually put a newsletter today that I had to actually say, I'm joking, folks, Kentucky Bar Association.
Yeah.
Which millionaire are you voting for? New York Times had an issue where basically everybody who runs for office is rich. Barack Obama's not poor anymore, is he? Hell no. Debate schedule. Tomorrow night at Hofstra University, Hempstead, New York, 9 p.m. to 10:30, Town Hall. Candy Crowley of CNN's the moderator. 10:22, presidential debate, Lynn University, Boca Raton, Florida, 9 p.m. to 10:30, foreign policy. Moderator, the Bulldog of Class X Radio. Bob Schieffer of CBS is bowed out, and I'm going to replace him. You know what? I always come up. I want to make sure you guys get all the useful information you need to get through your day. And here you got it right here. States that drink the most beer. Delaware explains a little bit about Joe Biden, 10. Per capita consumption, 34 gallons. Now, don't ask me why William picked 1, 5, and 10, okay? Thanks, William. Number 5 is Nevada. Per capita consumption, 36.5 gallons. What? You drink 36.5 gallons per person? That's what per capita means.
A year, yeah. Well, that's because of Vegas. Vegas boosts that,
1, New Hampshire. Per capita consumption, 43 gallons per capita in 2011. How do you drink 43 gallons of beer in a year?
Is it just beer or alcohol?
Beer.
Oh.
Not alcohol, not vodka, not
drinkers.
wine, beer.
It's a lot of beer.
It's a lot of beer.
How much beer you think you drink a year?
A 6-pack.
So maybe about, what's that, about a gallon?
A gallon.
About a gallon.
Probably about 70 gallons. About you, Jake?
I'm probably a little less than 70, maybe in about 35.
That'd be interesting to know.
How many
I'm going to
gallons
start
about
tracking
90?
that next year.
How many gallons you drink, Garrett?
That's about 70, probably.
The new iPad Mini will be reportedly unveiled on October 23rd. If you haven't drank too much beer, you can go out and buy that.
You got the iPad?
No. I got a Kindle, and I got I'll be honest with you, since I had my iPhone, I don't use a laptop, I don't use my Kindle, I don't use anything. I just use the iPhone.
Yeah.
How about this? According to The Guardian, Barack Obama's presidency has not helped the cause of blacks in the U.S. All economic indicators for blacks over the last 4 years have moved the wrong direction significantly. Unemployment, household income, on and on and on. Are you still going to vote for him?
Yes, they will.
Hey, you're going to love this, man. I'm having breakfast, right, with Jerome Bowles, the head of the NAACP in Northern Kentucky, the director. And he's a real soft-spoken guy. And I'm sitting there talking to him, and he asked me, he's had trouble raising money for this event, which I agreed to sponsor. And I just point-blank tell him, I said, I cannot stand Barack Obama, but it ain't got nothing to do with these black. I just think he sucks. He laughed. He goes, I'm all right with your politics. I said, all right.
Good.
Simple as
and
that.
I'm going to be a speaker up there. Just think. You know what? This is something that Glenn from Mason, he said, I just made this up. I have a bust of Martin Luther King in my lobby at the law office. I'm a big fan of Martin Luther King. He was a great speaker, great leader.
Yep.
I don't care that he had women all the time in his hotel.
Did he really? Was he a big womanizer?
Oh, my God.
He was kind of a bad dude, wasn't he?
Oh, my God. He was bad. And, of course, our sicko, transvestite, cross-dressing FBI director, Herbert Hoover, actually tape recorded a lot of these trysts. That's kind of sick.
Was he abusive to his wife, too? Or is that just something I heard?
Don't be talking bad about him, man. All right, when we come back, folks, we're going to finish up politics, and then we're going to dive into the Sarah Jones, the Erica Collins shooting, and the Dooley Mockbee murder trial in Boone County, all of which I am in the middle of. And I'm going to give you some inside scoop, some inside information. This is the Bulldog on Class X Radio. Enjoy another great rock song by The Who. This is the Bulldog on Class X Radio, rocking and rolling through Monday. Going to knock out politics, and then we're going to dive into some serious local legal news where you're going to get some inside scoop, folks. The vice presidential debate, I didn't get to comment on it because I was out of town. All I can say is this. I listened to it on the radio, and I heard somebody say that if you listen to it on the radio, you would believe that Biden won. If you watch it on television, you think Ryan won. And you know what? I watched the debate on television the next day, and I agree with that. I thought Biden kicked Ryan's butt on the radio, substantively. But, man, I have to admit, when you see all that laughing and all that stuff, he came off weird. But you know what? Just how stupid was it? Now, he did say, I know you got to catch up ground. How absolutely was it a missed opportunity for Paul Ryan when he was doing those laughing points to pause, look at him. You know, you want to get a zinger and you want to jump your campaign. I mean, I would have been screaming at him. What's so funny, Mr. Vice President?
Right, is this funny
about this or that? I mean, what a blown opportunity, Ryan. And I'll be very candid with you. Ryan has proven why he's a VP and not a president. When they first nominated, he was stronger than Romney. No. Romney is showing himself as the alpha male, the George Washington, and Ryan's proven himself why he's going to be a VP and an execution of the plan. I mean, Ryan came off to me very lightweighty. And you know what? It's a contact sport, as Mitch McConnell says. They throw a rock at you, you throw a boulder back. And Joe Biden was alpha male there, being aggressive and everything else. And Paul Ryan let him get away with it. I don't think that was smart. That's my opinion about the debate. The GOP is pushing to raise $100 million in October. A New York treat begins today at the Waldorf Astoria in New York. Top donors to mix with campaign staff. Through August, Obama's team has raised $742 million. Romney, $638 million. Is that not incredible? Look at all the people that are making money off that campaign, the pollsters and the direct mail folks and everybody else. Responding to claims from the Obama camp that the president will be more energized in the next debate tomorrow night, a Romney spokesperson said, well, the president can change his style, he can change his tactics, but he can't change his record, he can't change his policy, and that's what the election's about. See, that's the problem Obama has. That record is his record is his record is his record. And if he overcompensates, he might come off as a jackwagon tomorrow. And you know what? Mitt Romney can handle him just fine. David Axelrod said Biden's claim that Obama didn't know about the request for security is true. Who believes that? And how about Hillary Clinton's claim that she's appointed a committee to look into this? They have real-time video of this going on. The State Department does. When it was going on. Sick. Sick, sick, sick. Trouble for seniors. The reverse mortgage for homeowners, 62 and older, allows homeowners to borrow against the home. And some lenders have forced the widows to stay at deeds, forcing them. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, I cannot believe Senator Thompson, Robert Wagner, and these other jackwagons put their names behind these reverse mortgages. All a reverse mortgage is you're borrowing against the equity of your house, and when you're finished borrowing, guess what? You're in hock. You're in hock. No inheritance. Reverse mortgages. Stupid idea. Don't do it. You need to borrow a little money against your house, get a line of credit, and borrow against it. But don't do a reverse mortgage and wipe out your whole line of equity. Charging for online access known as paywalls is bringing new and much-needed revenue to newspaper publishers like Gannett Company. Gannett's 52-week stock price closed at 64%. Oh, by the way, speaking of the Cincinnati Enquirer, weren't we just speaking about the Cincinnati Enquirer? I got to share something with you. The lawyer for the Enquirer finally called me. Remember how the Enquirer twice, done the garbage for me, Jake, thanks, buddy, twice published something from the Nicole Howe case and attributed it to Sarah Jones? Not once, but twice. And they never apologized. We demanded an apology. They made the mistake twice. And I've got a lawsuit ready to file. And the lawyer called. And I'm explaining this to the lawyer. And the lawyer has his letter in front of him. And he's got the lawsuit in front of him. And he's asking me, well, what's your point, Eric? And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? It's all spelled out in my letter. It's all spelled out in that lawsuit. And I said, I need to hear by noon tomorrow, which is Tuesday, what you're going to do. Because if I don't get an apology and a retraction, I'm suing you. Kentucky Enquirer. And by the way, I have a great relationship with 5, 9, 12, 19. They cover the news. Why? Because they're fair. Enquirer, not fair. I mean, here's a story that they did about Sarah Jones. All right? Sarah Jones. Sex abuse cases often a double standard. This was in Saturday's Enquirer. Written by Jim Hanna, who won't return a call or a text about his newspaper screwing up on printing. There was sex in the investigators say there was sex in the apartment 3 or 4 times from October 1st to December 1st, which has nothing to do with Sarah Jones' case. Nothing. Now, here's what, there's so many things. Of course, they don't call me to comment about it. He contacts his good buddy Rob Sanders. Now, get this. I love this. The next female defendant's sex case Sanders' office prosecuted, Nicole Howe, went to trial and ended with a not guilty verdict. It was one of the first times someone was prosecuted under a law that made it a felony for a teacher to have sex with someone under 18. No, Jim Hanna, it was the first time. In all other instances in Kentucky, the age of consent is considered to be 16. Now, get this quote from Sanders. Afterward, jurors made remarkably similar statements to our prosecutors as in the first case. They thought she did what she was accused of, but didn't want her to go to prison for it. Ladies and gentlemen of the American jury, that is patently false. The jury, as soon as they got back in the jury room, they deliberated for an hour. The jury foreman picked up, I know because I talked to him, picked up the stack of evidence, threw it on a desk and says, there isn't one piece of evidence that proves she had sex with that kid. Not one. And in fact, remember, he did her in all kinds of different positions, but he couldn't remember that big old tattoo down there by the rear end on the back. Didn't identify that. Are you kidding me? So what Sanders says in this article is completely false. And he's the Commonwealth attorney in Kenton County. Yes, you should be worried. I mean, that's unbelievable. The jury thought Nicole Howe was not guilty. Why? Because she was not guilty. Not guilty. Now everybody knows that Sarah Jones was guilty of having sex. Now she was not guilty of those charges. Now let me just share a little bit about Sarah Jones. This Friday in the morning on Channel 5, the Today Show, there's going to be a special with Sarah Jones about the case, and they're going to do the first interview with Cody York and Sarah Jones together. On Friday night, 10 p.m., Dateline is doing an hour special on the Sarah Jones case. And I'm going to give you some inside information right here and now. Not only are they going to interview Sarah Jones and Cody York, we gave them access to me and Sarah Jones and her family during the entire case. You're going to get to see up front what Sarah Jones and her family went through during the ordeal. You're going to get to see up front the Bulldog in action, doing his thing. Behind the scenes, they tell me, they go, Bulldog, after everybody watches this, everybody in the country is going to want to hire you. I says, well, good. Because right now, everybody in the tri-states wouldn't hire me. But this Friday, you're going to want to watch the Today Show in the morning in Dateline. The whole thing is on Sarah. She's the star. I'm like the supporting actor. The Sarah Jones case, and you're going to get to see the interview with her and Cody York for the first time. NBC's all excited about it. Well, I'm going to play a rock song. We come back. I'm going to do a demonstration for you to show all the different things that the officer could have done in the Erica Collins shooting. Live, simulcast on ClassXRadio.com and the BulldogsNation.com. But until then, enjoy this rock song on Class X Radio.
Hey, Bulldog.
This is the Bulldog on Class X Radio.
Hey, Bulldog.
All right, Jake.
Hey, Bulldog.
I want you to wield the knife.
You want me to call a little play-by-play of this demonstration?
Well, you can if you want.
All right.
I just want to tell everybody, get over here, man. You're going to do all right. Now, I'm gonna start with this demonstration, which is going to be live on simulcast. That you can watch this. It's going to be podcasted. But I'm going to start with this for a reason, and then I'm going to give you my full analysis of the Erica Collins case, my involvement in the case, my opinions of the case, tell you some things about what I know about police misconduct. So I'm going to do this because I'd rather do this, and when I get rolling on my analysis, I want to stop. Now, the police officer, according to Craig's press conference, had to shoot. I'm going to get into what witnesses that we interviewed said, because we were up there, Chuck and Mike Zimmerman, my investigators, and Chad. I mean, I had 3 guys up there all day yesterday interviewing witnesses, taking statements, recording statements. But they said that they admit that she was going to cut the tires of her sister's vehicle. And then when the officer told her to put it down, she stood up, said, you want to shoot me? You're going to have to shoot me. And went towards him with this knife, and the officer shot her with his revolver. Now, I have here a 9mm, my 9mm gun. And I don't know if he had a 9mm, probably did, or a Glock. Bottom line is, it's empty. There's no clip in it. I made sure Garrett checked. The chamber was empty and the safety's on. Now, I want
to check that again.
I brought this on purpose just to show on the camera the difference in the firepower. Now, that's not a butcher knife, but it's a long kind of cake knife, which the blade, which I thought was funny. I'm going to comment about why they showed this knife, which the blade was about as long as the butcher knife. Maybe another inch longer, doesn't matter. Now, I just want to compare the firepower to you, okay? Now, everybody knows that a gun, you point, fire, boom, they're dead. 25, 50 feet away, no problem, all right? Now, I'm going to play the gender card, and I'm going to explain why I'm playing the gender card in a minute. This was a woman, a overweight woman. And I'm not saying that mean. She's my client. Her family hired me. I love them. I'm honored. But she was an overweight woman, not in shape, not a WNBA player. Okay? Guess what? You seen the video in the news of this cop? Big guy. Real big guy. All right? These police officers have tasers. These police officers have guns. They are trained. Now, I'm into martial arts, and I'm not going to talk in a minute, and I'm just going to demonstrate it on video. I'm going to let these guys say, I'm going to have Jake come at me with a freaking knife. I'm not a cop. Guns down. And I'm going to demonstrate a few things that I know, and I know these cops know about a knife. Bottom line, folks, that woman, even if she came towards this cop, he was not in danger of his life at all. All right, here we go. I want you, Jake, to come at me like you're going to stab me. Hold it like that. You come at me. Now, you come at me like that. You know what you do? You block. You break the goddamn arm. Broke. Now, let me tell you something. The worst case scenario, I might get my arm cut, something else. Are you kidding me? Let me tell you something else. You do the same thing? I don't have to do that. Come at me the same way. Block, pow! Just punch her in the face and knock her out. She's not dead, is she?
On the ground.
All right, there's number 2. Now, if you come at me with a knife like you're trying to stab me, same thing. Bam, bam, you're done. Or you take them this way down, broken arm. Now, these things I'm doing real slow, but I can tell you right now, I can do them in real freaking time. If he really tried to stab me, I'm telling you, and I know that cop could. And by the way, again, here's some more options that he had. Gun down. Gun in his holster. You go ahead and sit down, Jake. Well, no, stay there. It helps me act. Ma'am, please put the gun down. Guess what? He could retreat a little bit. He could try retreating backwards. Ma'am, put the knife down. Ladies and gentlemen, she didn't have the knife near anybody. She was going to cut tires. She didn't have the knife near somebody's throat. Okay? She didn't say she was threatening to kill anybody. And how many times have people smarted off the police? And I'm going to comment about that too. He could have retreated. He could have taken the knife out of her hands. He could have tased her. Guess what? You started to come at me with the knife. Pow! Just shot her in the foot. Come at me again, Jay. Pow! Just shot him in the leg. Pow! Just shot him in the gut. Gut shot. We probably gave him to UC hospital, and he's going to survive.
Pepper spray.
Pepper spray. You think if somebody comes at you with your knife and you pepper sprayed them in the face, they're going to hurt you? Hell no.
They have those like billy clubs too.
No,
That's longer than the
they're
knife.
RP 20. I always forget the name of that thing, but they're 6. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, you just heard about 15 different freaking options that cop had. Besides shooting her, not once, twice. It wasn't enough to shoot her in the chest. Hell, he had to shoot her in the head too. I sound like Al Pacino in that movie. Son of a Woman when he's talking about Charlie. There's no prosthetic for that. But on a serious note, folks, I just demonstrated live on a video simulcast about 10 options that cop had other than shooting a woman in an eye with a knife. Hey, cop, you're a wussy for having to shoot that woman. Happened to shoot a woman with a knife. You thought your life was in danger. BS. Total BS. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, that is my opening statement. Let's play a rock song. When we come back, I'm going to continue and elaborate on this with radio superbity unmatched on Class X Radio. Eric Deters, the Bulldog on Class X Radio, teleprompter free. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, I just demonstrated live on simulcast radio about the 10 different options that the officer had when he encountered Erica Collins, Officer Matt Latze. I can tell you this, being a lawyer that has handled countless police misconduct cases, I will have one of the top police experts in this country that will support my position of those options that the police officer did not avail himself in this encounter. Pepper spray, punch to the face, punch to the solar plexus, block the knife, break the arm, block the knife, take her down, shoot her in the leg, shoot her in the foot, shoot her in the left side of her chest away from the heart. So many different options. I marvel at the lack of humanity that I see on blogs and Facebook pages and everything else involving this incident when I hear people say she didn't put the knife down, so therefore she deserved to die. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, police officers are trained to come to these situations and de-escalate it, not escalate it. I know of a famous case over in Covington, Kentucky, where a police officer shot a guy in the leg to avoid him committing suicide. Now, this is something no one on local news has mentioned. 5, 9, 12 Inquirer hasn't mentioned this. But the Bulldog has it. because the Bulldog does his homework. This was written about Officer Matt Latze, of somebody that rode with him one night. I was very impressed with the ability of Officer Latze to both control the situation and diffuse the tempers. While he engaged these two disrespectful and highly incensed people during such a high-stress environment. He told me that he loves his wife and kids, and he would never let some idiots get in the way for providing his family. As Officer Latze was patrolling, the radio lit up and report a man was brandishing his gun. And they go on to tell how all these police officers converged and they didn't shoot the guy brandishing the gun. But this is even better, folks. Remember the riots back in 2001? July 16th, 2001, a story in the LA Times. The same place our new police chief comes from, Officer Craig. Headline, Cincinnati arrests slow amid tension. Do you remember? After the riots, what happened? The Cincinnati police officers decided to stop making arrests, letting crime prevail. This is what it said about Officer Matt Latze, the police officer who shot and killed my client, Erica Collins. Just the other day, he was called to break up a fight. One of the combatants was swinging a baseball bat. What do you think's more dangerous? Baseball bat, butcher knife. The reach of a baseball bat is much better. He calmed her down. It was a female. And told her to leave. In the old days, he probably would have arrested her. This time, no, he didn't. He is white, she is black. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, a woman is swinging a baseball bat, and Officer Matt Latze back in 2001 didn't shoot her. And guess what else he said? I didn't want to fool with it. Being proactive no longer has its advantages. It only puts you in harm's way. Officer Latze. So what did the police chief do yesterday? The police chief played the child card, said there were children around. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, Officer Craig, that's disgusting. Why? There was no children in harm's way, and you know it. Everybody knows, including Officer Craig and Mayor Mallory, this city has an issue with white police officers and black suspects. Erica Collins, 26 years old, clean record. Clean as a whistle. Boy, I bet you they hated that when they checked that out. Darn. She's not a drug dealer. She's not a gangbanger. She doesn't belong in a gang. She was a woman. Folks, did you forget? She called 911. Erica Collins called 911 claiming her sister was stealing stuff. What was she doing? They don't dispute it. She was going to take the knife to flatten her sister's tires so she couldn't leave. She called 911. And let me tell you about the police, what they do. They control everything. They put that knife out there. Did you see him put the knife out there with a ruler and the measurements? Like, ooh, look at this big bad knife. And I just demonstrated all the options that he had on that big bad knife. What if they don't tell us? Have they told us what the cruiser cam shows? Was there a cruiser cam on? Have they showed us and told us what the lapel audio video that officers have on? What does that show? You know, a lot of times I find in my cases that miraculously on that day, the officer decided to turn it off. Turn it off. And then they said they talked to all these witnesses. And these witnesses said that she took a step towards her and challenged the cop to shoot her, the officer to shoot her. Well, we interviewed their star witness. And by the way, nice sunny day, what do? They took witnesses that they chose down to the station. Worked on them a little bit. Can't wait to get their statements. Their star witness is going to be our star witness. The star witness says this. Star witness, the lady from the balcony said she had the knife. He told her to put it down. She said something about she wasn't going to, was being defiant. She says, well, you'll have to shoot me. But then dropped the knife and raised her hands. Pow. Ladies and gentlemen of the American jury, how can a police officer justify shooting a woman in the head and the chest when all she had was a knife. When he's got a track record of letting a baseball bat swinger by a woman de-escalate. It's amazing. It's sad. He messed up. We're going to file a federal lawsuit. We're going to be able to get through discovery, get all these things. Now, my final comment about this is this. Erica Collins is a human being. 26 years old, had a mother who died of a terrible illness after an accident, had a sister die of a terrible illness. Her dad loves her. She has brothers and sisters who love her, friends who love her, all these people. It's a life. It's a life. In America, we value life. Look what we do to avoid the death penalty for people. Look what we go through. We take 10 years to execute somebody. Resisting arrest and not listening to a police officer is not a death penalty offense. It's a misdemeanor, maybe a felony. Those of you that act like every time somebody says something smart aleck to the police officer who doesn't do what the police officer says, it's okay for them to shoot him, that's cold. You know my new big word after my Kentucky bar battle is humanity. And I'm a tough guy. I believe in tough love. But where's the humanity? This is a life. She was shot and killed. What's he get? Well, he's on 7 days administrative leave. You know what their internal investigation. But let me tell you something. They know the Bulldog's coming. They know the Bulldog's coming. But I just want justice in this case. I don't want to stir it up. I don't want to stir it up. I play some great music, and I played this song 15 straight times from my law office in here this morning. And I just happened to choose it. And I thought to myself, what a great song for the city of Cincinnati today. And what a great song to dedicate to Erica. Listen to these words. This song was about the band when they were breaking up and they had to get back together. It has nothing to do with other togetherness. But listen to the words. You know what? Jerry Spence, the great trial lawyer who I respect, says love is always the winning argument. When I get in the courtroom on this case, I'm not going to have to bash anybody. Love will win this case. You two on Class X Radio. This is the Bulldog, Eric Deters on Class X Radio. Jake apparently stepped on a wire, putting up a poster and cut our freaking signal off. Jake, you're having a bad day, dude. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, one of my favorite football teams of all time were the early 1990 Dallas Cowboys, when they had this great offensive line, great quarterback, great team, great defense. And the defense always knew that Emmitt Smith was going to run right, Emmitt Smith was going to run left, Emmitt Smith was going to do screen pass, Emmitt Smith was going to go left, right. Didn't matter. Defense knew what they were going to do, and they did it anyway. Those great Ohio State teams, you know, they did the same thing. And you know what, folks? In this case, you think, well, God, Bulldog, why are you telling them what you're going to do? Let me tell you something. They can't run. They can't hide. The reality of it is I am going to destroy the case of the Cincinnati Police Department and Officer Matt Latze. And I am going to do it in full view of the public. I've already done it in just 20 minutes here. All the different options. I'll have one of the best experts in the country that will support everything I'm saying. Why? Because it's the truth. You know how stupid they're going to look defending this? And let me tell you something else, all of you out there that wonder about police misconduct cases. Let me tell you what the law is. You know what the law is? To sue a cop, you have to prove deliberate indifference, which is more than negligence. You know they have immunity if they're negligent, or something intentional. Now, I think this shooting, excessive force, there's no question that I'll get this to a jury. But do you know that they're allowed to file a motion to dismiss right after you file your lawsuit on immunity grounds? And guess what? If the judge overrules their motion, they get to appeal that to the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals. And if the Supreme Court of the United States wants to take it, they'll do that too. Then, when it comes back, and we do all the depositions, and we do all the discovery, and then they file another motion called a motion for summary judgment. And when the judge overrules that on immunity, they get to appeal that to the Sixth Circuit, and then possibly the Supreme Court, and come all the way back down for trial. Ladies and gentlemen of the American jury, you don't get to sue cops for negligence. It's got to be more. And, of course, we have more in this case. But even under those circumstances, they get to delay the day of justice with a jury trial for countless years with 2 appeals, even before a jury verdict. Then they can appeal it again. So then they appeal 3 times. 3 times. That's how much the cards are stacked against you when you sue a cop. And guess what? The cops know it. In addition to that, think about the police officers are conducting the investigation. They can alter reports. They can strong-arm witness. Folks, this place where this happened is in Indian Hill, okay? They could haul people down to that police station. You don't think this happens? Hey, Bubba, I know you got a little bit of problems going on right now in Hamilton County, and we can make that all go away if you give us a little help here. What'd you see, Bubba? Well, I saw that lady charge that guy with that knife. You don't think that happens? You don't think police officers change police reports? Here's a great example. The Devon Mullins case. I'm representing the kid that was shot. The gun, the cop throws the gun, or the kid throws the gun. Then he's shot twice, and then the cop goes and picks the gun up and brings it back over to the body. He didn't know a camera captured all that. And they're still insisting that the video shows the gun being thrown after he's shot. It's not true at all. It's not shown on the video. And I have to admit, I love Joe Deters, my cousin. But Joe isn't going to prosecute a cop under that. Sorry, Joe, got to dog you a little bit. You know, are you kidding me? The video doesn't show that. And then these committees, there's like 4 committees that are going to review this police shooting. Give me a break. And by the way, the good thing is I don't care what the committees do. I don't care what the prosecutor does. Guess what? I get to sue them. And I'm going to sue them this week. And I'm going to sue them hard. I'm going to sue them bad. I'm going to sue them fast. And they know the Bulldog's coming. And I'll guarantee you they've listened to my show. So they've heard all these things. And they're sitting there saying, damn, Bulldog's good. We got some problems here. Yeah, Chief, you do. And let me tell you something else. Let's talk about credibility. Your Cincinnati police chief won't take a test so he can arrest and carry a gun. I'm going to call you out, Chief. Do you know why Chief Craig won't take the test? He's lazy, doesn't want to study. And 2, he's afraid he'll fail. Now, why should he be afraid to fail? Let me tell you something, Chief. I can walk in probably any state bar. I took the Kentucky, passed, Ohio passed, Florida passed. Didn't even study for Florida. I could walk into any bar and probably pass. Why? Because my knowledge of the law is so good and thorough. Basic law. So, police chief, you go out there in your little press conference and you misrepresent what the witnesses say. The witness, Chief Craig, that you're relying upon, guess what? They're our top witness. We're going to use the same witness. Guess what, Chief Craig? Putting that little butcher knife out there with that tape measure. Guess what, police chief? Doesn't make any difference. I just demonstrated live, simulcast radio, all the options that your guy had. Didn't have to shoot her. I'm going to call Matt Latte. What's it, Lattes? Or I've already forgot his name. Huh? Latte. Matt Latte. I'm going to call him that. Hey, Matt Latte, you're a wuss, big guy. Shooting a woman with a knife. You're a wuss. Wuss, wuss, wuss. Shooting an overweight, out-of-shape woman with a knife with a gun. You feel big, bad boy? Let me tell you something, Matt. Let me tell you something, Chief. I hereby challenge you. I'm not bluffing. You know I fought a cop in a cage fight. I'm challenging right here, live, public radio, the chief and the cop. They get that same knife. You get that knife. All right? Craig, Matt, you get the knife that Erica held. Okay? I get all the things that you had at your disposal. I get your pepper spray. I get your taser. I get my badass martial arts skill, which you should have, Matt. Guess what? I just want all the things you had. Your voice, your command, your vehicle, your pepper spray, your baton if you had it, your taser, your revolver. You take her knife, I'll take what you have. Let's reenact that scene. You're lucky. You're not even going to get shot. You're not going to get shot. Isn't that a great argument? How do you think that's going to sell in front of a jury? Pretty good, isn't it? Hey, I'll take what you have. You take, and I'm being serious. Craig, officer, and you know what's so funny is their lawyers, who are establishment kind of guys, you know me, I'm Mr. Anti-Establishment, they would never let them do that. Don't do that. Well, I'll do it. Why can't they do it? Come on. Come on, Chief. Matt, big tough guy, cops. Got all that stuff. Shooting a woman twice. Had a butcher knife. Bring it on. No cage fight. You get what you had. I get what officer had. You get what she had. Justice shall be served. God bless Erica Collins. God bless her family. God bless that apartment complex, all those residents. God bless her sister who had to witness it. God bless her brother who had to witness it. God bless them all. And may God have mercy on the Cincinnati Police Department. The Bulldog, Eric Deters on Class X Radio. You know, we haven't been calling it out, but we do have a phone number, 513-201-8891. 513-201-8891. I'm going to start putting that on Facebook in my newsletter so everybody can put it in their phones. 513-201-8891 if you want to comment on this police shooting. A couple more comments I want to keep going on this is I am far from anti-police. Farthest thing from it. I always say all the time publicly, police officers got a tough job. Officers in Cincinnati, Newport and Covington, New York City, L.A. risk their lives. They got to put up with bad hours, stressful marriages. You got politics. You got paperwork. You got administration. You don't get paid enough. I think police work is work I wouldn't want to do. I think it's very important that we have well-qualified and good police officers. I think we all agree that there's nothing worse than that cop that has a chip on his shoulder for whatever reason. You know, he causes more problems than he solves. I would like to tell everybody that I call numerous police officers friend and client. They don't mind me saying their names. They're such good friends. Aaron Arnsberger, great client, great buddy. He's a police officer. Poodle, Larry Shelton, the guy that I fought in the cage fight. He's a friend. You know, I got friends in Kenton County PD, Covington PD, Independence PD. I got some people who don't like me too, but I mean, I got friends. I tell you, one of my favorite police officers, and he's always respectful in the Facebook comments, is Dean Broadus. He's retired from Covington, and he defends the police officers, but he does it, you know, nice. I think Dean Broadus is a great cop. I'm not anti-cop at all. It's like, I think doctors are great. Thank God we have doctors. You know, my granddaughter had to go over to Children's Hospital for a little cardiology test Friday. Who doesn't love Children's Hospital? Who doesn't love University Hospital? But one of those doctors screwed up and your kid died, what would you do? Well, you call the Bulldog. Just the nature of the beast. I'm not, you know, it's like police, you know, lawyers screw up. I've confessed live on the radio 2 times in my 25-year career. I've missed statute of limitations, and I admitted it and paid it. I didn't want to spin it. I got a letter the other day from a lawyer, local lawyer, claiming that we missed a statute of limitations on a part of this guy's claim on a case we settled, and I respectfully am disagreeing with him. And this is kind of cool when you're the Bulldog brand. It's kind of cool being the Bulldog. You know, Kentucky Bar Association can suspend you, and clients don't leave you. The Bulldog's just getting a bad rap, which was true. You know, you can get sued by a client, and Bulldog's just fighting. Because everybody knows I'm honest. My clients love me, 99%. I mean, you can't be in business. Come on, there's like, I would, you know, hundreds and hundreds, really 1,000 people I represent here. I guarantee you 5 or 10 of them hate my guts for whatever reason. I will say this. For the most part, those people we can't make happy no matter what we do. They think their whiplash case is worth $100,000 when it's worth $2 million. Can't help them. And again, the haters out there crack me up. And if you think it affects me, you're Crazy. Doesn't affect me at all. Now, I was retained yesterday morning to represent David Dooley, who's accused of the murder of Michelle Mockbee at a industrial park business out in Florence, where the Dooleys, he and his wife Janet, cleaned. 4 months after the murder, which apparently is gruesome, they have arrested him, and he's been in jail for 2 weeks. He hired a lawyer. I got to get this great story. Lawyer doesn't give him his cell phone. Lawyer doesn't fight for him in court. Lawyer doesn't have answers when he comes visit. And guess what? They've watched me in public. They knew I had my cell phone. They called me. I met with her yesterday at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. I called Pastor Dan, and I don't go to church every Sunday, but I was planning on going to church yesterday because I had such a good week. I wanted to go in gratitude. And I'm sitting there, and she retains me, going to pay me some money. And she goes, when are you going to go see him? And I said, well, I'll probably go tomorrow. Then I thought, well, you know what? I'll go now. This is important. You just retained me. He's charged with me. I'll go now. I spend my whole Sunday out in Boone County Jail talking to this guy. And I can tell you right now, she's crying. The wife is, based on everything I said to them and everything, crying with joy to have somebody to fight with him. Now, do you know what the Mockbee family's doing? Oh, Harry did. Well, guess what? My client, I believe, says he's innocent. I said, don't you tell me that, gosh darn. I got this basic spiel where I say now, this is the deal. We're not going to play a song this segment. I'm going to keep this rolling, Garrett. I'm going to say, hey, you got to tell me, because my advice is going to be based upon what you tell me. Tells me he's innocent. Not only that, I says, do I have permission? I get this in writing. Let me tell you something. I love the movie Devil's Advocate when Al Pacino's telling Keanu Reeves' character, nobody ever sees him coming. He sneaks up on him. Many a lawyer on the other side of me, prosecutor or otherwise, make the big miscalculation that maybe the Bulldog's just all bluster, no talent. I take great pride in substantively knowing what the hell I'm doing, being very creative, working very hard, and sneaking up on them. And let me just share this with you. This is just the facts. I believe this guy. And I got permission to go out and sing it from the mountaintops that he's innocent. Now, why would he do that if he was guilty? He interviewed without a lawyer. I said, what did you gain from that interview? Like, what did they indicate? He says, the only thing I got indication is they were questioning my time frame of when I left the place and when I went back home to see my wife who was sick that day. Let me tell you something. We got a suspect that committed that murder. We got a suspect. And guess what? You think I want to sit around? This is the way I roll. You think I want to sit around like these other lazy lawyers and don't give out my cell phone number and they don't, dig in? I got my own investigative team. We're on like green on grass. This suspect, what always happens in Perry Mason, which never happens, he proves who really did it. Well, that's what I'm going to do. Now, with all due respect to the Mockbee family, God love you all. I saw your interviews after they arrested this guy, the pain that you endured. But do you want, what evidence, I put this on, I said, what evidence do you have that he's guilty? Show it to me. Show it to me. Show it to me. Don't you want the right person to be convicted? I'm a lawyer. I can say with a straight face right here, I have never represented a cold-blooded murderer. I've never represented somebody I thought was guilty of rape. And I've never represented somebody in child abuse. Never. I would represent a murderer if it was a crime of passion and he said, man, I did this, but can you help me get as light a sentence possible? I could do that with a clear conscience. I have never, ever represented a cold-blooded murder. Ever. Let me tell you something else. I've never ruined a doctor's or police officer's career either. I mean, they always say it causes them stress, increases premiums. Well, that might be, but they got insurance, folks. I've never taken somebody's home and destroyed their career. Never have, never will. There's always insurance. There's not insurance, you go home. But I crack up at the people, and then the haters, they don't get it. Because, see, I learned a long time ago, if half the people in town love you and half the town hates you, man, you're going to make a lot of money as a lawyer. And you're going to have a lot of fans on the radio. I got standards. I want to tell you something. David Dooley maintains his innocence, and I believe him. those of you that want to hate me for representing this guy because you think he's a cold-blooded killer, well, what evidence do you got he's a cold-blooded killer? I don't have any. You know what? I don't have any. And by the way, if they have evidence that he's a cold-blooded killer, let's see how quick a plea's worked out. Hey, David, they got you nailed. It's not going to happen. We come back, we're going to wrap up this radio show of Radio Superbity. And I'm going to do it by making some announcements, which I think are very important to get out there. And again, tomorrow I'm going to be talking about another major case. I can't help it. You know, I'm hot right now. I tell you right now, Sarah Jones walking out of that courtroom not guilty of a felony, no sexual registration. The polls say 70% it was too light. That was pretty good for business. Thank you, Sarah Jones. We come back. More Radio Superbity on Class X Radio. This is the Bulldog, Eric Deters on Class X Radio. Got some great rock music to follow in me. I want to make some announcements. First of all, I want to God bless. Let's give them Oracle status. I am going to give Oracle status to all those people that either gave money or went out there and walked yesterday for breast cancer. You guys are oracles.
You've been awarded Oracle status.
My sister Sarah is a cancer survivor, breast cancer survivor, and so is my sister-in-law Martha. They beat that terrible disease. I think they're both past the 5 years. And I tip my hat to all those who walked yesterday. Remember, if you got some community event, send it to me. I'll promote it on my newsletter and promote it right here on Class X Radio, which is 88.9 and 89.1 FM. Also, tune in live radio and classxradio.com. Live simulcast. We also podcast and also on the bulldogsnation.com. Also, remember, October the 24th, which I do believe is 2 weeks from now. Guess what? I'm going to do a radio show from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., and every minute's going to be a blast. We're going to have some celebrities in here. Hey, Dinkle, you got to come in. There's a bunch of Z-list celebrities like me and Dinkle talking to each other. But it's to get sponsors for the radio show. This is a nonprofit radio station. We don't talk about that too much, but it is a nonprofit. And we need sponsors to pay the bills. And by the way, folks, I'm going back to my WLW days. I'm not getting paid. But that's okay. I walked away from a paid job to do this. That's how much I love Bill Spry. And I want to give gratitude. When I was going to go into church, and I said a prayer of gratitude yesterday about going to church. But when I went to church, I was going to hit my knees. Well, I forgot. This is fun. I can tease the Baptists. Baptists don't go on their knees like us Catholics do. There's nowhere to go on your knees in a Baptist church. Well, anyway, I'm very grateful for Bill Spry for letting me do my thing on the radio station. By the way, there's even people that complain, the people that they only want rock music. They don't like me being on the radio. Donation requests. Afternoon today for the Eric Collins family. They don't have any money. First National Bank. And by the way, my lawsuit's not going to get money for years unless they step up and admit fault. First National Bank. Any First National Bank by noon today, there's going to be a fund. And this fund is solely to cover funeral and burial expenses. There's no other hidden agenda. It's to just pay those expenses. This Friday, the Today Show on Channel 5, you can listen to me and watch the television at the same time, is doing a special on the Sarah Jones case, which is going to include the first and only interview of Sarah Jones and Cody York. And Friday night Dateline airs an hour special on Sarah Jones, behind the scenes, exclusive access, all she went through, the charges, all the way, in another interview with Sarah and Cody. You're going to see the hell Sarah went through. You're going to see all the legal strategy unfold. I think I'm a supporting actor in there. They say I look good. I said, you better make me look good. How many lawyers give exclusive access? Guess what, folks? It was all with client's permission, agreed not to air till after the case is over, and there's nothing we said on camera that would hurt anything ethical or otherwise anyway. Bulldog does some neat things. And by the way, this is interesting. I have signed a TV agreement, and they've asked me not to announce it, which kind of makes me mad. But, in fact, I have a conversation tomorrow at 1:30. We're having weekly phone calls now with these development ideas. True story. The television program developer of NBC News was so impressed with my interviews. Jeff Rosen and him called me one day to talk about possibilities for me on NBC. Pretty cool. They kind of said, you ought to consider this show your audition for some reality television. And I said, all right. Some more things. The skydiver. We got to mention the skydiver. Like, how does a human body go the speed of sound, Garrett?
It's unbelievable. Jumping from space. That's how, apparently. They had to make him like a space suit and everything, and
that is smoking.
You know, I heard that he almost didn't go up because he's claustrophobic, and that space suit they put him in made him feel that way, and so he almost called it off. But had some psychologist, some sports psychologist, come in and talk to him, and I guess talked him into doing it.
I'm going to share a few things now. You know, this has been. I apologize to the boys here that my first show back was serious, but unlike Joe Biden, we act appropriately on the subject matter, right?
Yes.
We do.
When it's Friday, we loosen up a little bit, talk a little football.
But this matter, and this is funny. When they did that Inquirer, Chuck Martin did that full-page story about me in January about 5 years ago after the jail battle, and I got the nickname Courtroom Bulldog. They interviewed my dear old dad, and my dear old dad said that the thing that would shock most people about me is how tender I am. I'm the tenderest of his 11 children. And to be honest with you, it's true. I cry at movies and stuff. Listen to that U2 one song on the way in this morning. Man, I'm like, man, that's a powerful song. I think it might be my new favorite song.
It's a great song.
But anyway, I called my dad yesterday. This is so cool. Hope my dad doesn't mind me telling a story. I called my dad yesterday to give him an update on everything, and I told him all the things were going on. And I found out this week that I'm the third largest law firm in northern Kentucky, but I'm also the largest plaintiffs and criminal law firm now in the tri-state. For the law firms that do plaintiffs' work and criminal work, we're northern Kentucky. We're by far the largest. We're like 3 times, but we're also the largest in the tri-state now, which is awesome. So I'm telling him about all these new cases and everything else. The last thing my dad never talks like. The last thing my dad said was, "Son, I'm glad you called me. Your call made my day." Dear old dad was proud. Now I know one of the reasons why he's proud. You know, he built the largest law firm in northern Kentucky, defense firm, and now his boys. He's working his way up with a plaintiff's firm.
Carrying the torch.
And my dad has no idea what I do, kind of. The other thing I wanted to say this. You know, I'm not supposed to mention the wife. I get in trouble, and I do it anyway. You know that little 3-day trip I took? Guys, I'm going to give you some relationship advice, and you already know this. All advice is the stuff you already know. Most important relationship you have is worth a little nurturing. You know what I mean? And that was a great trip for my wife and I. Great trip. And you know what she said, Gary? Now, this is about as sweet can be.
What is it?
The last day of the trip, she says, "I hate that tomorrow I have to share you again."
Aww.
With work and clients and is that not sweet?
That is a nice thing to say.
I said, that's one of the sweetest things you ever said.
You're a loved man.
Well, you know the reality of it. If your home life is messed up, look at some young men we know. Your life falls apart. I'm just telling you. My dad told me, you got to have solid home life. You can conquer the world. Without it, it ain't very good. All right, we're closing out this show. I want to thank everybody. You got some inside information. We'll be back tomorrow with some radio superbity, and we'll preview that debate. Good girls don't, but maybe you do on Class X Radio.